Lux your way with the Lux Cravings Boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings Boxes at Taco Bell today.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Refreshing and goes down smooth. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
How's your day going?
Going good, thank you. Yeah.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
You could win one of 2 trips to see Banana Ball live. Purchase 2 Body Armor products, use Let's Go rewards, and you're entered to win. Right now, Body Armor is buy one, get one for $1 with Let's Go rewards. Start getting those entries in. Let's go.
Around here, toughness isn't talked about. It's lived.
Matt Wagner with the one-handed catch down.
Early mornings, late nights.
Going forward with 4.
Work that doesn't make the highlight reel.
Same mindset, different uniform.
This is the blue-collar grit, earned, not given.
Tough days don't stop us. They build us.
McMillan shoots and scores.
For the workers who don't back down, Ford doesn't either.
Shannon fires.
Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise, and our major sponsors, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, RoadPaint.com, and the Blue and Orange Store. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're proud to stand with Boise State Athletics. Through our NIL marketing partnerships, we're investing in the future of student athletes. Lithia Ford of Boise, here to get you there, wherever that may be. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Broadcasting from the Sun Cruiser Studios, here's BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, happy Monday, Bronco Nation. How we doing? Welcome on into a live edition of Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com. As always, our title sponsor is Lithia Ford of Boise, Jim Sturk and Company. You're looking for that new or pre-owned vehicle, make sure you get out to Lithia Ford of Boise. We are in the Sun Cruiser Studios today, whether it's the new blueberry lemonade flavor or the various flavors. I know, Brad, a couple of the post-game shows, I think you sampled some Sun Cruisers last year. Nice beverage, perfect spring, summer beverage while you're golfing, whether it's the vodka iced teas, vodka lemonades. So make sure you pick one of those up at your local gas station or grocery store. Brad, it's Monday. We got the spring game on Saturday. We got the NFL draft this week. A lot going on, and you have ties to both of those, so you're a perfect guest to kind of come on and preview those. But a lot going on. How we doing?
A lot going on. I'm good. Yeah, I've had a couple of Sun Cruisers in my life already, and you had me at vodka.
They are very good. They are very tasty. Yes. All right. So the NFL draft's on Thursday. The spring game is on Saturday. Which one you want to start with? Sadie Hawkins, the floor is yours.
I just go to the draft first.
All right. Draft first. It's Thursday. Cage Casey won't be taken on Thursday, but is hoping still for Friday, second, third round. I mean, a lot of the projections are like third, fourth round. So I know it doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, I know every draft pick's money and everything's different, but in the large scheme of things, if you're like the last pick on day 2 or the first pick on day 3, other than having to wait around all night, it's not that big of a difference. But there is something about going on day 2, going on Friday, going in that third round, versus having to wait around till day 3. So Cage Casey, what's just your general take here, 3-4 days from the draft on where he sits and what you're thinking for him?
I'm thinking third, fourth. I think he needs a run, to be quite honest with you. And not just a run at offensive lineman. He needs a run at guard center types, because you never know. Usually the tackles that are going to be taken in the top 20 are going to be true tackles, right? They're just true tackles. Second round, you're going to get a tweener or two thinking, okay, they're going to say, oh, offensive tackle at a blah, blah, blah university, where that team has every intention to move him inside. They just think he's the best offensive lineman on the board, and we have to make him fit to start as a rookie or his second year. So I think he needs a little bit of a run to go in the third, early in the third. Now, I think his conversation starts coming up later in the third. And if he doesn't go in the third, I think he'll go pretty quick. I would say in the first. My guess could be in the first 20 in the fourth. But you just never know, because it's hard to predict what these teams are going to do. I mean, it's a crapshoot now. I mean, now it's if you were drafting, right, and you were a GM and you're sitting in the war room right there, and you have a corner that you absolutely love, right? Well, or an offensive lineman, because we're an offensive lineman that you absolutely love, but there's only been 2 drafted. You're like, now wait a minute here. The guy we love, we have a little bit later in the second. Well, he could be sliding to the third. So let's take the outside linebacker that we absolutely love too, because we can get him now. And now we can wait to the third to get the offensive lineman, because none of them are getting drafted right now.
So Boise State fans should be early and often just cheering every time you see a center guard, interior
center guard,
in general getting taken.
Yeah, I think he's going to have some come off the board. So I think that's going to be important for him to go in the third. If you don't see a lot, he slides to the fourth. And then if that happens, awesome. Now I'm going to feel when it gets to the later the third, and we're sitting there, and it's, I believe the third's what, Saturday?
No, Tuesday, second and third round or Friday.
Second and third day, yeah, Friday. And you don't see a lot. I'm gonna start feeling okay. I feel bad for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday, once they start the fourth, if it's holding true, he's gonna start sliding, because then I do feel bad, because now it's very anxious. You get pissed, to be quite honest with you.
and I hate to be that guy, Brad. Like, I haven't looked at a ton of mock drafts or whatever, but just given the history of Boise State in the draft, where typically every year it seems like a Boise State player is sliding and no one in Boise is like, what's going on? Can't believe it. Can't believe it. Like, it wouldn't shock me one bit if he doesn't go to the 5th or 6th round. Like, he should not. There's no reason he should. He's a better player than that. We said the same thing with Khalil Shakir and all these other guys that slid to the 5th, 6th, 7th round for no reason. Or, oh, how could he get undrafted? Like, it happens literally every year with a Boise State player that they quote unquote slide way more than everybody thinks they will. And Cage Casey should be a 2nd, 3rd, 4th round pick, which means he's probably he's probably going to unfortunately go 5th or 6th round. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, trust me, I hope you're wrong too, but you can't realize this. There's nothing wrong with Cage Casey. There's nothing wrong with Boise State football program in getting guys in the National Football League. There's no way. You can't predict the draft. It's impossible because usually the Raiders, back when Al Davis was drafting, he screwed it all up and he took some really bad picks because he would off of pure 40 time. And so you don't know how they're going to draft. And there's nothing wrong with him. There's nothing wrong with the football program. There's nothing wrong with relationships in the National Football League. But it just happens. And it happened. John Mulshaw.
Maybe it's just bad luck then. They've had a lot of bad luck when it comes to that.
Bad luck. Yep, bad luck. John Mulshaw slid undrafted free agent, won a Super Bowl in Tampa. John slid to undrafted free agent, took off, went to Tennessee, started games. Now he's in Philly. It just happens. Khalil Shakir, $60 million man. John Bates slid, big contract in Washington.
Yep.
It always happens.
Charles Leno, as the commenter on the screen here says, went 7th round, but ended up doing just fine.
Correct. When did Shue get drafted? Or when did Poutsier get drafted? Those are 2 very good careers. And they weren't top 2 rounds.
Yeah. No, I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's 3rd, 4th. I would love it. That's where he should be. I'm just saying, based on the history, if I had to put some money down, I'm guessing we're going to be there on Saturday as it goes to the 5th round going, how is Cage Casey still on the board? But somebody's going to get him and probably do very well. Now, if I put we are 100% confident he's going to get drafted somewhere. Yeah. I mean, that would be the shocker of all shockers. But if I put the Vegas gambling number at 1.5, do they get anybody else to sneak into the 7th round, 6th round, whether it's a Matt Lauder, whether it's a Braxton Feely, whether it's a flyer on one of the defensive backs that performed well at the pro day? Zion Washington was tearing it up. I mean, if the number was 1.5, Brad, is there any way I can get you to take the over, or is it probably Cage Casey and then a ton of undrafted free agents?
I'm taking the over, and I'm taking Matt Lauder in the 7th.
Okay. That'd be great.
I think because he has quite a bit of production behind him. Now, I know the number dropped his senior year. That's okay.
But he did have a pretty good performance at Pro Day, too.
Good performance. He's a very good blocker, right? And now and don't take this, if anybody knows Matt Lauder, and he knows me, don't take this as disrespect, but he's a grunt guy. He'll do anything it takes to win. John Bates is the same way. He's a grunt guy in Washington. They're going to put him down on 1st and 10, and then all of a sudden, John Bates seems to be wide open because nobody covers him because, he's just in here to block, right? And the NFL is back to thriving on grunt guys at tight end, and they're going to keep 4 or 5 on the roster. They're going to be good special teams players. So I think it's Matt Lauder in the 7th. And then from what I'm hearing, and it makes me a little nervous because there's the Giants traded their top defensive tackle. I forgot where he went. That makes me a little nervous that some of these teams don't think the defensive tackle draft's that deep. So that's why I kind of tend to go with Lauder and Stafili, because there's going to be size now we're talking and things like that. But numbers-wise, he blew up the pro day. So I'm not sure to call him a draft guy, but I don't know why. I just feel Matt Lauder's got production, and the history of the tight end position at Boise State translates very well to the National Football League. And so that's why I say him.
Bengals guy. Yeah. All right. So, but we still believe like they're going to end up, whether it's, and maybe let folks know the difference between a rookie mini camp and a free agent deal. I mean, they can still cut you anytime they want, even if you're a free agent deal. That doesn't guarantee you anything. But obviously we would expect 4 or 5 guys after the draft, whether, Zion, Amarion McCoy, I think would get something. Irby actually had a pretty good pro day, might get into a tryout mini camp somewhere. We mentioned Feely. I mean, there's going to be Saturday night, we're going to be hearing about 4 or 5 guys probably at least getting some sort of chance.
Sure. So there's tiers, right? There's drafted. There's undrafted free agent, meaning there was money behind that contract.
Priority free agent, right? What do they call
Priority
it?
free agent is typically they can get to bidding wars and go up to 95,000 signing bonus, and even some teams have guaranteed the first 2 years of practice squad money to kids.
I believe Brett Rippon got a practice squad guaranteed out of college.
Correct. So, and then you have tryout guys. Hey, I've been invited to do the mini camp for the Minnesota Vikings. You're trying out. And if you make it, they sign you to a contract. It's not going to be a great contract. Or they hand you a cold sandwich and a Gatorade and said, thank you for your effort. And that's the way it goes.
And you get a couple pictures that you were in some gear for the weekend and can say you were
Hey, at the end of the day, you had the opportunity to go to the National Football League and get a contract. It just didn't work.
Yep.
It just didn't work. And so there's a lot of teams that do that because some teams will rather have tryout guys. You go, okay, we're going to sign 1 or 2 undrafted free agents or priority free agents, typically quarterback, typically offensive line, corner, like bigger positions, wide receiver. Other than that, like, nope, bring them in and try them out. We like them, we'll sign them. We don't, thank you. And, here's your flight back.
26 years ago, 6th round, Cleveland Browns taking a offensive lineman named Brad Bedell. You were the 6th round, 206th pick overall in the 2000 draft. And was it Favre or who's the guy that went right after you or before you? Or I know there's some crazy famous people.
Tom Brady, where'd he go? What, 197, 198?
Oh yeah, I think that's what it was. You went like 3 or 4 picks after Tom Brady. I knew it was something like that. But
I've said this numerous times. One had a much better career than the other.
But I mean, seriously, like I know you laugh it off, whatever, but I mean, what we're talking about here with these kids, you got to experience that phone ringing. Like you were an NFL draft pick. Like that's pretty darn cool. Like what was that? I know we've asked you before every year at the draft, but just for, folks out there, just what is that like? What is that weekend like? What's the feeling like? I know it was a long time ago, but what memories do you have from that? And when you get the phone call, like I know 6th, 7th round's a little different than 1st round when you're in the green room and all that. But I mean, would you have a party at your house? What do you remember about that day? And to get to find out you were an NFL draft pick and get that call. I mean, what was that like? And where were you supposed to go? Were you about where you were supposed to? Did you get screwed? And by the way, Tom Brady was 199 in the 2000 draft. You were 206. So 7 picks before you was Tom Brady.
Cool. No, it was just me and my family, my parents, my brothers. I had the range of 4 to 6. So there was some really good offense. Chris Samuel was a part of that draft class. Chad Clifton was a part of that draft class. There's a lot of good offensive linemen in that class. And so I slid on the back half of what my agent predicted me to go. And then at that point, when I got drafted, they called. It's stressful because they're calling, right? Like I got a call from Pittsburgh, I got a call from Minnesota, and I got a call from Tampa in the 5th and said, okay, this is it. If this team does this, we're taking you. Okay, cool. They didn't take me. So somebody dropped to them, and so they took a different position. And it's amazing when you get the call. For me, it wasn't, I'm in the National Football League. It was relief. Like, oh, okay, it happened. So that's over. It happened. And then excitement and all that, and, crack a cold beer and say, hey, this is awesome. And then reality strikes and says, okay, well, you're a drafted NFL football player. You're starting from scratch. You are now the lowest guy on the totem pole. So now you got to build yourself back up. And It was an awesome day. I wish that's where I wish all these kids can get drafted out of Boise, to have that feeling. It means something to be a drafted offensive lineman. You kind of get a little bit more leeway as a drafted guy, at least back then, where they invested a little bit more in you back then. But yeah, it was a great day, and I remember it like it was yesterday. But there were some guys that went before me. Joey Chutz went before me from La Tech. He didn't even make it out of fall camp. So it's not an exact science. I mean, college coaches losing the recruiting battle and thought he was going to be really good, and he sucks. It's life. But anyway, it's that's how I feel. Like, if I could say one thing to Cage Casey and Feely, all of them, just be patient. It's out of your hands. And you did what you can do. And as long as you feel great in your preparation and what you did and all that, it'll take care of itself. And do not freak out. I didn't want to throw a party because I can't stand the guys that throw parties with 900 people there and they don't get drafted. That's embarrassing.
You've been to some of those.
Embarrassing. Yeah, I've seen a lot of them. Right. And I wanted the people that got me there. My family got me there. My offensive line coach, he couldn't make it. He was a head coach at that time in Idaho. But I wanted the people that surround me that helped me get there. That's what meant the most to me. And so that's what I did, and went on and played and did my thing. And now I get to I feel bad for kids that start sliding. I feel awful for them. I just wish somebody would have told me, hey, man, relax. It's going to happen. It's just not going to happen on your time, possibly.
Well, it's 4, 5, 6, 7 guys hoping to at least latch on with the team. We are hoping to catch up with some of those guys next couple of days, the rest of the week. I'm going to try to get Cage and Matt and Feely and some of those guys on the show to kind of preview how they're thinking, what teams they've talked to, and kind of get their thoughts. And then maybe if they do have some good news, get them on next week again. So we are going to try to track some of those guys down the rest of the week, and we'll wish them the best of luck and see what happens here moving forward. But Brad, we have the spring game on Saturday as well. I want to talk about that and kind of what you're looking for and how a spring game works and what coaches are trying to get out of it. And we'll kind of dive into a coach's perspective of a spring game here in just a second. But I do want to thank a couple of our great sponsors, including Lithia Ford of Boise, our title sponsor. There would be no Bronco Nation news without Lithia Ford of Boise. So support Jim Sturk and company. They certainly support Boise State financially. They've got cars, NIL deals, all kinds of stuff, coaches, administrators. So return the favor, support our title sponsor, and that's Lithia Ford of Boise. Hey, Sun Cruiser, you looking for, I mentioned it earlier, the blueberry lemonades, the new flavor I'm loving, all strawberry lemonade, pink lemonade. They have the tea, the half and half, and they have the straight vodka lemonades. No carbonation, low calories, low carbs, 4.5% alcohol, perfect kind of beverage just to sip on while you're golfing, hanging out with your buddies. So Sun Cruiser, pick one up at your local gas station or grocery store. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but as I tell you, the easiest, that mobile eBranch online banking right there in your smartphone. You don't realize what you're missing until you make the switch to Idaho Central Credit Union. They've been a partner of ours for a couple years now, always support our golf tournament things. Appreciate Idaho Central Credit Union. They donate as much as anybody back to the community, and they did that with the free throws made with the Idaho Youth Sports Commission. They're a big supporter of theirs, so we appreciate the whole crew over there at Idaho Central Credit Union. Again, make the switch today. Find out what you're missing. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. You can win one of 2 trips to Banana Ball from our friends at Jackson's. Don't forget, we'll have the Jackson's postgame show coming up for the spring game on Saturday. More details on that coming. But Eugene, Oregon, or here in Boise, one of 2 trips to Banana Ball. If you want to, go to Banana Ball and you didn't win the lottery, you can use your Let's Go Rewards app, and that is from our friends at Jackson's. Just type in your phone number, buy 2 body armor products, and you're entered to win one of 2 trips to see Banana Ball, and that is coming up later this summer in Eugene or right here in Boise. Yeah, we had fun last week. Don't know if you saw the show or not, Brad, but Johnny and I were doing a broadcast in my truck because it was cold before football practice last week, and we just got the urge to go to Taco Bell. So while we were live on the show, we just went through the Taco Bell drive-thru and had breakfast and kept talking sports, and it was a fun show. And we appreciate Taco Bell for their support of Bronco Nation News, TacoBellWorks.com, whether it's the the breakfast hash browns, by the way, were the best breakfast hash browns I've ever had. They have the quesadillas as well. So many great options. Taco Bell. Visit a Treasure Valley Taco Bell location today. And if you're interested in the limited piece of Blue Turf history, they're selling that varsity Letterman's jacket, 40 years on the Blue Turf. If you're interested in that, the Blue and Orange store has you covered. And you can get that at different locations. I think you can order online as well, the blueandorange.store.com. So if you're looking for this, 40 years of the Blue Turf, you got it. Brad, you look pretty good in that jacket right there. Nice Letterman's jacket, 40 years. This is the 40th anniversary, and you can get it fully customizable with your name, years, all kinds of stuff. So check that out, folks. The Blue and Orange store online, the blueandorange.store.com. All right, Brad, we are going to end the show a little early today. We got about 15 minutes left, but I volunteered to be a chaperone on my kids' 5th grade field trip. They're going fishing today. So we're going to end a little bit early, which is why we started a few minutes early. But we've got 10 to 15 minutes left, and I do want to touch on the spring game on Saturday. They had closed scrimmage number 2 yesterday, or Saturday, excuse me. There was no media for that, but tomorrow Spencer will talk about scrimmage 2 and then also kind of preview Saturday's spring game. And in terms of 2 practices left, Tuesday, Thursday, and then the spring game, what's kind of, take us into the locker room here, so to speak, the coach's office. You just had your scrimmage number 2. You're getting ready for 2 practices this week, and then your final practice of the spring is the spring game on Saturday. What are you trying to still accomplish this last week? And I guess you get ready for Saturday. What do you want to see as a coach? The obvious, nobody get injured. But what else? What else do you want to see in terms of the spring? I know a lot of times spring game, it's now more of just a practice. There's controlled periods and live periods and things like that. But give us a preview from a coach's, player's perspective of this week and Saturday.
Well, the Tuesday will be cleanup from scrimmage 2. That's important, right? And then Thursday is prep for spring game and other things. Spring game is kids get to have fun in the game jersey and run out and play some ball and kind of keep it simple. Let them play. It's kind of given more to a controlled atmosphere rather than splitting teams up and now you're scoring and things like that. You'll see some spring games that some players will look really good. And so now that'll be the hype. We can go all the way back to the quarterback where Malachi threw a couple of great deep balls that should have been picked. But it's just that type of thing. It's not – you kind of got to go base because you don't know anymore. I mean, that's why a lot of these people are scrapping spring games because they don't want them televised. They don't want anything. So we're not going to throw anything. So it's going to be a lot of, hey, we're going to a lot of inside zone, and we're going to let you guys compete and play, and then we're going to look at it. We're going to grade it. These are simple things. And if you can't handle this – you're going to drop in the depth chart like an anchor.
But the spring game itself doesn't really have any more impact than like the Thursday practice or whatever, right? I mean, it's the one the fans see. It's the open one that everyone looks at, and they want to judge the stats and all that. But, I mean, they're being graded on 15 practices, and this is just another of the 15.
Exactly what they're graded on. And some of them are I know there's a couple of guys that do the spring game, and decisions, it's not Boise. Other places, decisions are already made on some things. Spring game, it's coming up. Spring game's just a spring game, right? I'd rather see what he does in 9-on-7 on a Tuesday than what he does in the spring game. Some guys don't play in the spring game. You're going to see some guys that have practiced for 14 practices and they just won't play in the spring game. Ezra Cleveland didn't play in the spring game. John Molshon didn't play in the spring game. Garrett Larson didn't play in the spring game. Now they don't have that.
I think one carry or something, but it was
one carry.
But it was also two-hand touch or whatever the first half when he was in there.
And the two-hand touch, that they weren't going to touch him in a phone booth because they said do not touch him. I mean, it's just the way it is, right? But I also like to see the other things I like to see in the spring game is the fundamentals of the players because that's what it's going to come down to. And so if there's going to be some pressure and things like that, and how can you handle it and the fundamentals, if you're coming out of the spring game and you still have, there's been a lot of sacks, a lot of tackles for loss and things like that. It's like, okay, well, when are these 4 offensive linemen coming back? Because it looks like we're going to need them really bad. So that's where I would look at the spring game. It's how the players fundamentally, how's the energy And then if things aren't going well on one side or the other, I remember last spring game, Cage Casey ripped that offensive line because they weren't playing well. And so I like to see some of the leadership on the sidelines in the spring game because that means they've been doing it and they feel comfortable about doing it with people in the stands. And that they're going to do that on game day too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's important to me. I like to look at the surrounding area of, okay, your leadership's going to have to be developed. Now, who's going to do it when it's not just the team and now you've got however many fans are sitting in the stands? And are you going to prepare to rip your teammates in front of everybody? Because you're going to have to do it in the game. So I like to look at that and see where the leadership's coming from.
And one thing I want to look at is, there's been a ton of emphasis this spring, Brad, on tackling. And they have had way more live periods this spring than they have had ever in spring and way more live reps. And one of the big reasons was the tackling was not very good last year. A lot of the metrics were not good. They were one of the worst tackling teams around. And they, to fix that, said, the only way you can get better at tackling is to tackle. And so they had a lot more live periods. I would like this. I know you can't take a lot out of a spring game, but I do think from a defensive standpoint, the tackling, you've had a month to focus on tackling. You've done a lot of live tackling. Let's see in a month what you've done on the tackling side. That's one area for me that I'm very interested to watch is how the defense tackles.
Yeah, I mean, if it's emphasized, so it's in. So let's see how you guys do it with a crowd, right? I mean, now you got a crowd, so let's tackle, communicate, things like that. Pre-snap penalties. I mean, all that stuff, because it doesn't matter if there's 100 people or 33,000 people, you're still in front of fans. Are you going to go crazy and start just throwing fundamentals out the window or dropping your head, not bringing your feet and tackling? Are you not going to vice the tackler? Things like that are important. And if it's been emphasized all spring, you want to see it now when there's people in the stands.
And speaking of that, I know a lot of fans get excited to see the newcomers. Wide receiver this year was a big question mark. Rashawn Jones, true freshman, as everyone's been hyping him up for a month. Okay, let's get our first eyes on him as a fan. What's he look like? They brought in Akeem Wright, a JUCO wide receiver who's been lighting it up. Darren Morris from Southern, the wide receiver. Those could be 3 of your 4 top receivers this season, possibly. They're going to get their first look at them. You've got,
defensive backfield.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what is, if you're going as a fan and you're sitting there in the stands, obviously everybody wants to see, did Maddox Matson improve, whatever, but you're saying the offense is going to be pretty basic and bland. These are also, I know it's not scripted, but these are all things the defense has also seen too, a lot of times when it is pretty basic and whatever else. So I know a lot will be made on Maddox Madson's performance in this game. I guarantee you Brad, you know how it's going to go on Monday morning or after the spring game. If Maddox Matson is 6 of 13 or whatever in this game, they're going to be saying Cash Herrera, who's going to get most of the reps in the second half or whatever, goes and lights it up with 2 touchdowns. People are going to be saying Cash Herrera, why are we sticking with there are overreactions galore in the spring game. But with that said, I do think some of the backup quarterbacks, Cash Herrera, Jackson Taylor, how do those freshmen look? They're exciting guys that fans want to see. I mentioned the receivers. You mentioned a lot of the defensive backs that are all gone. I mean, there are, if you were a fan of this team and you're a diehard, hardcore fan that knows the depth chart and wants to see a lot of this, that it would be I think Saturday there's a lot of intriguing position battles and areas to watch.
Well, and it's fun. This is a difference of the era of football right now. Now you're going to look at guys that have transferred in from other places, that have played football, and go, okay, cool. Now I get to see new faces. They're supposed to come in and had production at other universities, and now I want to see them live. First time I can see him, let's see him. I agree with you 100%. Back to Mad Dog, I agree with you 100%. If he comes in and throws a pick and all that, they're going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, come on, give me a break. It's a spring game. Now,
I'm not saying it should happen. I'm just saying we all know it will.
Right. But I also say this. Don't tell me also a guy that's played all this football comes out and throws a bunch of picks. Take University of Texas. He threw 5 picks in the spring game. That shouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
with the new secondary we're talking about too.
Right. So I'm not going to say, if he comes out there and throws a bunch of picks and all that, I'm going to be like, wait a minute here. Hey, you deserve the right for the criticism, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not.
You gotta play well.
Let's be balanced. Yeah, you're on the field. You got to play well.
Yeah.
You got to be the leader. Been talked about as a leader. You got to be the leader. You got to function as the offense. You got to have control of the offense, and then you have to perform. Doesn't matter if it's a spring game or if it's a walkthrough come July and they're throwing on 7-on-7. You got to perform. As a quarterback, you got to perform. If you don't perform, you're going to get criticized. He tends to get criticized in the Valley to the 1000th degree, right? Some of it I agree with. Some of it I wholeheartedly disagree with. So, but I'll take the side of the criticism if he comes out and throws a bunch of picks and does all that, and the offense can't get lined up, and they're slow out of the huddle, and he has no control over anything. He deserves criticism, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and it'll come.
The other thing is, though, he has everything I said, throws the ball great. Okay. Deep balls have improved. He's not throwing them out of bounds. Okay. He's got good control. Are the same people that are going to criticize him? Maybe, okay, let's give him, he played well. I feel I can't, none of them are going to feel comfortable with him. I'm like, okay, cool. He's our quarterback. Right. The other thing is this. If the freshman comes out and he does not play well, you can't say he stinks and, we need to get a portal and he's not worth it. He's a freshman in his first semester of college football in his first spring game. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. That ain't fair either. So you just got to kind of ride that line and see some positive and critique the negative for the freshmen, right? Freshmen are going to mess up. That's life.
Yeah. Well, as of now, it's looking like low 60s and sunny. Should be a beautiful day on Saturday. And this is 2 weeks further than usual. I mean, they typically, like we said, have the 2 weeks, the spring break, then the 2 weeks. So we are 2 weeks further in April. But this has been a grind for them, Brad. This has been every other day or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday practices. And obviously it's much more than just the practices during spring. But this has been pretty much a month straight of spring ball here. So they're going into the
physical
last
football
week here. And the grind is going to be the grind will finish. And then I know there's a social for the alumni and the players and everybody after the game as well. So it should be a beautiful day and should be a fun way, hopefully, to wrap up what's been a pretty physical month for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think just looking at everything and the way they've handled this spring ball, I know it's later and a little longer with only 3 practices a week, but I think they were smart in doing this because they made this spring very physical. And you don't want to go physical 4 days in a row. So they gave him a day to get the body somewhat back, and we're going to go at it again. Right? I think that's important when they went back and self-scouted and said, okay, well, if we're a bad tackling team, we're going to practice tackling. If we're going to practice tackling, then that's going to have to require a lot of physical practices. So let's give them a day. And then we can really investigate the tackling from the day before or the block or whatever they want to do, and then correct it. And they got a chance to correct mistakes over time. I think that's the way to do it rather than be intentional in doing it, rather than we're just going to do spring ball and get through it. And then we're going to wait for all of our troops to get back in fall camp, where now you can't tackle as much because of rule. And now you're getting closer to an opening game. You're like, okay, can we really get such and such on having physical after physical after physical? That's why I like physical spring ball. I like physical start to fall camp practices, get your depth chart, and then not back off, but it's more controlled to get them to the game, to go up to Oregon and do your thing.
Mike says, this spring we've heard players and coaches using the word violence more. Looking forward to see if the renewed emphasis translate to the field.
Hell yes. Key word there is violence. So I've said it 1,000 times. It's a violent game for violent people. And if you're not violent, get on the bench or take your ass back to on the 84 or whatever highway we live on and go home.
Well, it should be fun Saturday, Brad. I'm going to stick on for a couple minutes and talk a little basketball portal news. Any
nice. They got the JUCO commit.
Big center, JUCO center. Yes, in the fold.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to the spring game. I think it's been intentional, and I do think there's some things that will not be answered. Offensive line will not be answered. That's one that will not be answered until fall camp. I think they keep the backup quarterback going. I think that won't be answered. That's got to go to fall camp. And I think the competition in the wide receiver room's got to keep going. So I don't think everything's going to be answered come Saturday or come post-spring. But I think that you're going to have a good view of who is going to be the top 30 on the roster. And then after that, let's see what happens when the guys coming back from injury and see what they can do in fall camp and in the summer.
All right, Brad. Well, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Monday. I don't know what your schedule is. Hopefully next Monday works. If not, next Tuesday, we'll wrap up the spring game and kind of set the stage for summer workouts and what the offseason looks like for the football team. But appreciate you for coming on and may see you Saturday at the James. Who knows? But we'll certainly see you around at the game and then talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Have a good day. Have fun.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it. Brad Bedell, again, pretty cool, guys. You get to have somebody on the show that literally got drafted into the NFL. By the way, a little birdie just told me that Drew Fielder committed to Alabama. So Drew Fielder is committing to Alabama. I'm trying to tweet this out real quick if I can get this. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I'll tweet it out in a little bit, but all right. Sounds like Drew Fielder's going to Alabama. So you heard it here first. Breaking news. I had a good visit over the weekend and sounds like he's committing. Drew Fielder to Alabama for his final year. You just heard it. Breaking news here. That's why you watch Bronco Nation News. But they did get a JUCO center. Yes, somebody was asking about the JUCO center. And yes, he is in the fold. They'll probably be announcing that today or tomorrow. Let's see what else we got here. Jacani Diang is in the fold. Very intriguing 6'11" center. We'll talk much more basketball with Jay Tuss tomorrow and dive into the recent updates with Stanback and also now with Diang in the fold. They're still looking for some more players, so we'll have plenty of basketball portal news tomorrow. I know that did happen over the weekend. Boise State has not announced that yet, so we'll see when that is announced. But Drew Fielder to Alabama sounds like could be happening today, so we'll see. But hey, appreciate you guys. Again, sorry for the little bit shorter show today, about 5 minutes shorter than usual, because I do have to go to a kid's field trip. I'm a chaperone of a fishing field trip today for my son's 5th grade class, so I have to get over to the park real quick and help with that. But we'll be tracking all this stuff. We'll have stories up. I think Nathan wrote a story on Diang that will get posted today. We'll be tracking everything, and appreciate you guys. Full coverage of the draft, full coverage of the spring game, full coverage of the portal all week long at Bronco Nation News. You can go subscribe and, again, support all of our great sponsors and that keep this show free of charge. And that does include Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley, online at BauscherRealEstate.com. Signature Roofing, whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, or an inspection, check out mysignatureroofing.com. Element Fencing, 25 plus years in the fencing business. Decks, pergolas, fences, cedar, wrought iron, vinyl. They can do it all, folks. Element Fencing, online, elementfencing.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shop Ridley's.com. Ridley's Family Markets. Find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Rowpaint.com, interior, exterior painting, those world-famous concrete coatings. If you're looking for that next painting project, get it done by rowpaint.com. And Transportation Compliance Service, TCS, Transportation Compliance Service. All right, folks, appreciate you again. Sorry for the shorter show today. Got some dad duties with the field trip that I volunteered for, but we'll get all the news up. We'll follow basketball, and I know I shortchanged basketball today, but we had Brad Bedell playing to his strengths with the portal, and with the spring game and the draft. So full coverage of the draft, full coverage of everything, but tomorrow will be a little basketball heavy, more with Jay Tuss, and we'll talk about this and try to get another player on or two. The portal does close, I think, tomorrow or the next day. It's closing pretty soon, and we'll see. We'll wait final word. I think it's still looking good for NATO, but obviously he hasn't announced he's leaving, but hasn't announced he's staying yet. So we'll track that, follow all that. Appreciate you guys. 60% off. That deal's ending soon. BroncoNationNews.com. If you want in, 60% off. That deal is ending soon. It's like $4 or $5 a month. You get all of our coverage for a full year, and that includes all the way through football and basketball season next year. So thank you guys. Sorry to shortchange you on the show. We'll try to go longer tomorrow. We do have practice tomorrow, so I don't know exactly what time the show will be. We'll keep you updated on that, but we'll be live at BSU tomorrow for the show for practice. So thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Go subscribe. Sorry for the short show. Love you all. Bronco Nation News online. Go check out Bronco Nation News.